Hey Brittany, let's take a look at your week 3 assignment 2 drawing. You don't necessarily have to stick with a piece of furniture if you don't have one available to you. You can work with an object, say that you have that is a more simplistic geometric kind of shape. It doesn't have to be, this large thing. It can be something smaller, and as long as you can kind of set it up in an environment for the next assignment where, light would be hitting it, it would be casting shadow on the environment. You'd have to deal with the environment that's around it as well. But there's not much of a difference between a piece of furniture on the floor and, say, like a Kleenex box on a table. It's still the same. You're going to be dealing with all the same things that a piece of furniture on the ground would. So that's an option you can go to if you want to work with something else for the next assignment. I think this particular object, it is just so simple. It's just a basic kind of box-like structure. And I think that if you're to use this in the next assignment, I would actually like to see maybe how the kitchen cabinet works. Not as a whole, but at least how a few of them kind of work together, how they work side by side, or maybe you have, maybe you can just kind of do a section where you see kind of the top cabinets and maybe just below it kind of some bottom cabinets. It doesn't have to be anything, I think, to a great length of detail, or, well, detail you would want, but not kind of all-encompassing. I wouldn't expect you to have kind of the refrigerator next to it or the dishwasher down below and windows and curtains and that sort of stuff. But I think it's such a simplistic object that more is going to be needed for the next assignment, just in terms of visual interest. I think this is it's being done well in terms of the texture and the coloring. The texture feels very convincing, especially I think within the 2-point perspective and especially on this side of the object. But detail is fairly low because it's such a kind of minimal structure. I think other things like having a lighting situation in place that feels much more tangible could help to create a little bit more variety. Trying to add maybe some cast shadows underneath the knobs, trying to create a certain amount of depth to the knobs so that they actually feel like they jut out from the surface rather than just feeling like ellipses that are applied on top of the surface. I think technique-wise it could be just a little bit cleaner. For as simplistic of a structure as it is, you want to avoid these little kind of areas where they break beyond the bounds of the drawing or where they don't go quite up to the corners or the edges, which make it feel a little bit asymmetrical. And kind of little things like that, and getting maybe a highlighted side and a shadowed side and a middle tone side very clearly would help to bring a little bit more dynamic to this object. This one too also has the problem that it's not really a 1-point perspective because you don't really have any perspective applied to it, linear perspective applied to it. You should have something that's suggesting that it is receding in space, that there's a vanishing point that's on a horizon line that is affecting the angles as they kind of move back in space. So even having something as simple as kind of a top plane that recedes, or probably better yet would be to have something where you kind of see the top plane and the side plane, and that's going to help to again give it a little bit more complexity and a little bit more visual interest. But I would like to actually see you working on something a little bit more challenging if you have something available to you for the next assignment, because I think it will, again, it's more for you, it's more to push you, it's more for you to get experience on these things and to not just kind of play it safe, but to take a few more risks. And I think the next assignment is really, more than anything else, preparation for week 4, where we're going to be dealing with an entire interior and multiple textures and elements and a lighting situation. So even being able to take kind of a half step in that direction, I think, is really going to benefit you as you move into week 4. And I definitely don't want you getting caught off guard with the difficulty spike when we move into week 4.